Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to give my speech in front of such a distinguished guest. I should be rather serious after such a witty introduction. Maybe you might be disappointed. I wouldn't give any shock to you this evening. And I would like to talk about my literary autobiography, since I consider you might be interested about such circumstances in literary field in Japan. It seems to be quite different from literary field in foreign country. And title should be How I Have Been Grown Up as a Japanese Writer. I like to talk from during the war period. I was not enlisted as a soldier because mobilization cause. When I got the mobilization, I had serious ill. I had bronchitis, but the innocent military doctor misjudged it as a tuberculosis. Luckily enough. And I was not enlisted, and I was working at the Navy airplane factory as a student at my college period. And I resisted during the war period, and just I made myself as a cave dweller. I built my own castle, and I wanted to live in it. And I read only Japanese classics and sometimes French psychological literature like Raymond Rodriguez's novel. And the reason was very simple. At that period, we have had nothing to buy. All shops are closed, and only shops which are open are second-hand booksellers. And I bought many old books and Japanese classics, which made me quite exceptional among Japanese young modern writers. Most of modern writers in Japan wouldn't pay any attention to Japanese classics. And the reason why I liked Raymond Rodriguez is very simple. It is problem of age. I wanted to compete with him because he died at 20s. And I thought I could die at 20s, at 1945. But unfortunately, I survived like that. And at the airplane factory, it was in Kanagawa Prefecture. And every night, we observed the sky of Tokyo from the air shelter. And it sometimes does bombing in the Tokyo city. It is beautiful fireworks I have never seen in my life. And I felt it is a feast of death, which brought me some romantic idea of the death of sudden above, something like that. But I was quite busy with translating of W.B. Yeats, At Hawkswell in Japanese. And I considered myself completely out of fashion during the war because I'm translating W.B. Yeats. And such my attitude was preserved even after the war. And everything I was upset and completely changed after the war since 1945. But still I kept my old customs. And I had to consider myself now completely out of fashion. But yes, I must explain you about our system in literary field. How I became to be a professional writer. In Japan, a short story is most important test for young writers. It is sort of a 4-round match for Green Boy in boxing. And if he can fight in 4 rounds, he can fight 5 rounds, 6 rounds, more and more. And short story writing is such a sort of 4-round match. And I showed my manuscript to Mr. Kawabata. You probably know about his name. His works are translated into English, A Snow Country or 1,000 Cranes, something like that. And he was extremely kind to me to help me to show my short story on literary magazine, which is called Human, which is very popular at the period and vanished right now. And because of him, I became to have very, very small fame as a short story writer, as a newcomer in literary field. But still I was out of fashion. At that period, Mr. Dazai Osamu's work was absolutely popular, and he was loved, respected, and admired by younger generation. And his work was translated also in English as Setting Sun or Human Lost. And he committed double suicide, and which made him as a hero in modern literature in Japan. But his characteristics of his literature was depressing feeling after the war period, and self-pity, and the symbol of all nihilism of younger generations, and hopeless situations, something like that. Of course, I resisted it, because he was so famous. And all friends surrounded myself were crazy about Mr. Dazai, and they insisted me to go to see him, to go to meet him. It was unforgettable memory for myself. Maybe it was 1947, I think, when my friend took me to some dirty restaurant. He was surrounded by many fans at the upstairs of the restaurant, dirty tatami, and very bad quality sake and food at 1947. And he looked like a very romantic type of writer, a long hair and very sad face. And I felt myself as if a literally assassin, because at the first meeting to himself, I suddenly said, "I hate your work." He was surprised, but because he has never heard such a statement from any younger generation. He just admired and loved. And he looks like very angry, but gradually calmed down, and talked to his friend beside of him. I still remember his saying, "I know he loves me, because he came here, as a matter of fact." It is a beautiful statement. And I think it was the last moment I met him. And a few months later, he committed suicide. And I think I started to walk a completely different way from him since I heard this statement. Because maybe sometime I might feel like that when I am told by some younger generation, "I hate your work," something like that. But I never intend to say, "I know he loves me." It is a most characteristic statement of self-pity and most characteristic significance of his literature. After that, in 1952, I had the first trip all around the world. As I told you, before then, I kept to be the cave dweller, and I hid myself into my small castle, built by myself from the wartime. But in this trip, I had a boat to the United States, which took 2 weeks, quite a boring trip. But I first time I enjoyed sunbathing at upper deck, and I met sunshine. I met the sun. I felt I met the sun at the first time in my life, and I found out I can be still familiar to the sunshine, which was a very great invention of my life. And particularly when I visited Greece, I I was so deeply impressed by the bright sunshine and the blue sky of a Greek country. And I reached my very specific conclusion from my own point of view. It was as follows. In my point of view, a spirit or soul must be the Christian idea or Christian invention. In old classical Greece, it didn't exist. It might be a wrong idea, but I thought so. And old Greek just wanted to keep the balance between intelligence and physics, Sophia and Somer. And I felt as if I had a revolution in my mind. And as soon as I came back to Japan, I started to write my novel, Sound of Waves, which is obviously based on the Daphnis and Chloe. Daphnis and Chloe and is old Greek novel. But still, I preserved my character as a cave dweller, and my works came through like Monsieur Anouilh's plays in French literature, pièces roses and pièces noires in turns. And all my novels could be divided into just two divisions. And after 30 years, like any bird, I became to be relaxed in my own nest. I needed a wife. And I got married. And the first reason I got married Yoko is because she's an artist's daughter. My father-in-law is a Japanese painter. And she has no imagination at all as for artists. Very important thing. And the secondly, of course, I got marry her because I was attracted by her, needless to say. But our married life is still going on relatively peacefully. But sometime during such a peaceful life, we get the children. Still, the old memory comes to my mind. It's the memory of during the war. And I remember one scene which happened during the war when I was working at the airplane factory. One motion picture was shown there for the entertainment for the working students, which was based on the novel of Mr. Yokomitsu. And it was maybe May time of 1945, the very last of the war. An old student, I was 20s, couldn't believe we could be survived after the war. And I remember one scene of the film. There was the street scene of Ginza before the war. There were a lot of neon signs, the beautiful neon signs. It was glittering. And we believed we couldn't see all in my life. We can never see it. But, as you know, we see it actually right now, and in the streets there are more and more neon signs on it. But sometimes when the memory during the war comes back to my mind, some confusion happens in my mind. That neon sign on the screen during the war and the actual neon sign on the Ginza street, I cannot distinguish which is illusion. It might be our my basic subject and my basic romantic idea of my literature. It is death memory and the problem of illusion. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mishima told me before he began the speech that he would make a brief speech in the anticipation of getting lots of lively questions from the floor. And tonight we're going to try something of an experiment. Instead of confining our questions to the regular press, we may call, in case they are quickly exhausted, we may call on associate members and perhaps even ambassadors if they want to ask questions. All I ask you is that you restrain any impulse you may have to imitate the president and make long speeches. And I think to keep the thing more informal, we'll sit down, and Mr. Mishima will sit down and answer. Is that all right with you from here? Okay.
Mr. Mishima, earlier before dinner, you remarked that the movie Yukoku was an old-fashioned moral tale.
Yes.
I wonder if you could spell out in a little more detail for us what the moral of it is.
It is, I should say it's moral or belief at 1936. The story of the film is based on the 1936 coup d'etat. And this coup d'etat is not exactly coup d'etat. It is based on particularly Japanese idea. And the soldier who caused the coup d'etat never wanted to get the power, to get political power in the government. And I think they have had no definite plan after the coup d'etat if the coup d'etat would be successful. And they just believe their own purity, their own genuine belief, a genuine love to the emperor, a genuine love to the Japan. And it is what I call the old morality in Japan. And it is very specific morality. And I use it as a background of the setting of the motion picture so that this calligraphy would give some very strong impression to the audience and to give a very simple explanation of the background of the story.
Next. Henry.
Mishima, I'd like to ask...
You say.
I'd like to ask, what do you think were the reasons for the entry into the Second World War of Japan? This is a political question, I'm afraid, but you think on power themes, and you're evidently interested in basic political impulses. What is the explanation?
Well, in my point of view, it's a quite long talk, forgive me. At 1936, coup d'etat failed. But I think they had the very right purpose to socialize Japan in very Japanese idea. And in some aspects, they wanted to democratize Japan at the period. But this school was always kicked off from the so-called, I should explain, there were two parties in the military force. One was emperor's school, one was controlling means Nazism school. And after the coup d'etat failed, such a Nazism school was had a strong power, and they invaded China just after this coup d'etat because they broke all power of his enemies in military force. And then the most nasty way of military control started in Japan from 1937, I think. And the old balance in political power was lost after 1936. And then we are forced to get into the war. And I think the 1936 coup d'etat has still very important meaning in modern history, and particularly for the Japanese war and Japanese attitude to the World War II. And now I like to write about this historical situation, and I should like to maintain this coup d'etat, not revolt at all, and something like that. But maybe my explanation is too simple, and please ask me further about this. Yes.
How can your explanations be too simple? Because the simple explanations are the
Yes.
ones which are necessary, not the complicated ones about cliques.
Yes.
How will you bring out this theme of the simplicity and perhaps the Japaneseness of these developments, if
Yeah.
this is what you will bring out?
I love simplicity because I think maybe we are very complicated people, I think. And we like to reduce our inside, and we like to be, we need to be simplified all the time. And which made the development of Zen philosophy or something like that, I think. And we never like a relativist pessimistic thought, and we sometimes reach the very absolute thought sometimes. It's one side of simplification, I think.
Mr. Mishima, among your many credentials, you're obviously an expert on women. So my question concerns Japanese women. It is generally agreed, I'm sure, that after the war, women were one of the things that became stronger here.
Mm-hmm.
It has been my observation that they are becoming stronger still, and that because of certain pressure in the business world, young Japanese men are not able to develop the individualism, the self-will that the women are doing so. And it is my prediction that Japan will eventually become a nation of hen-pecked husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Would you comment on that, please?
But in my personal history, I think a woman is weaker in my family. My old mother was stronger than my mother. And my mother is stronger than my wife, I think. And, and even in the feudalistic period, women had very potential power in the home, and just they pretended to be obeyed to the husband. And it is, the Japanese woman used to be very, very skillful actress. But right now, they lost such a skill of acting, and they became too honest, and looks like became stronger. I think it's no change at all.
Sam? Just
Yes.
Sam. Just
You have just finished a movie,
Yes.
Yukoku, in which there's a very long and excruciating scene of seppuku,
Mhm.
or harakiri. To the best of my knowledge, this particular form of suicide does not exist in any other country in the world. Could you explain in your idea why the Japanese, in traditional days, came to choose this particular form of suicide?
Yeah. Once I was asked same question from some English cineast, Mr. Basil Wright, and I answered in the letter. And I cannot believe Western sincerity because it is invisible. And in Western sincerity, I said. But in the feudalistic period, we believe the sincerity exists in our entrails, you see. And if we need to show our sincerity to someone else, we should cut the berry and take off my visible sincerity. And so I made it visible. And not only myself, but also all Japanese really believed it. And it was also a symbol of will of soldier, I mean the samurai. And everybody knew it is most suffering way of suicide. And the reason why they prefer to die in the most suffering way is simply because which could be the proof of the courage of samurai. And so it became a Japanese invention of suicide, and it is most of no foreign people couldn't copy it, but no, I got the example recently. Some American soldier committed a harakiri recently. Which yeah, I read it in the newspaper recently.
Copycat. Well,
Mr. Mishima, in the invitation that our president issued to our guests tonight over my name, he mentioned other parts of your life than your pure literature. Now, what my friend Jemison asked already touches this. You don't only write, you also do many other things. And amongst them, you direct, you write scripts for, and you act in films. And I think it would be appreciated by all of us if you would add to your little speech of autobiography something of your life work outside writing, which, as we know, begins at, 6 in the evening and goes to 6 in the morning. You do many things. You produce films, you produce plays, you write scripts for films, you act in the scripts for films, you do many things. Please say something of this other work of yours outside your bestseller novels.
Oh. But I spend 80% of my energy into in writing of my serious novel, which takes a lot of time and energy. And but in Japan, everybody is tired of anything very quickly, and if you don't show off something 1 month or 2 months, you'll be forgotten very quickly. And in order to be remembered by people, I must do something foolish at times. But serious to say, I'm a writer, and now I started a very long novel, which would include 4 volumes. I just started last September, and I'm afraid it should take 6 years more. It is content of my every night work.
This, my friend, is what I wrote, that he's on the point of a chef-d'oeuvre of which maybe he will say something to us.
he wants you to tell about
the new 4-volume novel.
Uh-huh, yes. It is too confidential, but yeah, I will open the door slightly for you. It is based on the Buddhistic theory, reincarnation, and 4 volumes has common protagonists, but protagonists reincarnate from volume to volume. The first volume is the story of 1910s. The second volume is the story of 1935, and third volume is 1940, and the fourth volume could be lasted in the future. But all story is situated in completely different situation, and only several characters are common through the 4 volumes. But only character He's always friend to the protagonist, knows the secret of reincarnation. And at the first volume, the protagonist is a son of aristocratic family, and fall in love with a girl who is also aristocratic daughter. But she is forced to get married with a prince, and the emperor already admitted that marriage. And so their love affair is getting like adultery, between the triangle love affair. And when this scandal is spread out, she must abandon this world and becoming a nun, and she must hide herself into the nunnery in Nara. And last volume of Tales of Genji, and in the snow falling, he got seriously ill and dies, and reincarnated into the second volume. And he reincarnated into the boy of right-wing family, and preparing a coup d'etat or something like that. I cannot explain anymore.
Andy?
Mr. Mishima, could you please say something about the conditions of being a writer in Japan? I mean, do you as a writer feel you have complete freedom to write whatever you want to? Have you ever, after you became famous, felt pressure of any kind from any person or any group in Japan?
You mean what kind of pressure? You mean the political one or?
For instance, yeah.
Political. Yeah, I had one experience when some short story written by Fukazawa Hichiro, you might know about it. It is called Furyu Mutan, which appeared on the Chuokoro magazine. And I was suspected by the right-wing people. I recommended this short story to the magazine. I must explain the story of the short plot. No, you know. Yes, that's right. And I was suspected. I recommended the story to the magazine. I was blackmailed, and blackmail says, "I'll kill you and I burn your house," or something like that. And I was protected by police bodyguard, as you remember, all through the 2 months. And it was a very dangerous period. And finally, a police guardman asked me, please tell me frankly about your private life. Professionally, we keep your secret. Definitely, I keep your secret. Please tell me frankly. Have you mistress? I said no. And he despised me very much. Of course, he usually he's protecting a famous politician here, and they have numerous girlfriends, as you know. And it is one episode. But anyway, since then, I fear, particularly since the Ampo demonstration period. How do you call Ampo?
The AMPO against the security
yeah.
treaty demos.
And we feel something of pressure and some political meaning. And there's some taboo about talking about imperial family. And it is very safe to praise and to appreciate imperial family, to praise the beauty of Princess Michiko. It is very safe. But now it is quite dangerous to criticize the emperor or emperor's family. It is one taboo. And the other thing is, how should I say, some sort of progressive idea is quite kicked off from the first-rank journalism, I'm afraid. And maybe one reason is the readers are becoming tired of reading such a political idea. But now we feel something pressure to us. But I think it's very wrong. I want to break it anyway.
Yes? No.
A serious question this time. A few days ago in Phoenix, Arizona, a Japanese scientist, 37 years old, made a statement to the press that in Japan today there was a very discernible trend for the people at large to reject Western values and, to some extent, Western innovations in favor of traditional values and traditional ideas. Are you in agreement with this?
I wrote an article on the Bungai Shunju magazine, the last issue, about that. I explained about Japanese psychology since Meiji Restoration. And when we closed our country up to the middle of the 19th century, we could believe ourselves a beautiful woman, because there was no mirror. I mean, mirror is Western culture. And the Japan did not have any mirror to deflect our own features. But after the Meiji Restoration, we found out we are not beautiful at all. And we must make up as quick as possible in a Western way. And the people in Meiji was very unskillful to make up, but they tried very hard and relatively successful. But on the other hand, they knew they should preserve their own soul or own spirit in their mind, because they could not have any sufficient self-confidence to be beautiful after learning to make up their face in the Western way, you know. And such a lack of self-confidence was a most strong motive which gave the development of Meiji period. But in the Taisho period, since 1910, Japan became very skillful to make up their face in Western culture. But during the war, since World War II, or from the China-Japanese War, we had the second time we have had very strange instinct to break all mirrors, which might give us complete self-confidence. We are beautiful. And we broke all mirrors, and we kept our self-confidence. We are now the most beautiful woman in the world, you see. And after the war, we watched the mirror again, and we found out again not so beautiful face. But we are not surprised, because it was second experience. And our technique of makeup became much more skillful than people in Meiji period. We made up our face in the American way very quickly, maybe Max Factor, and democratized ourselves. And now, finally, we got some self-confidence. We are beautiful. It is industrialization. And even now, even fur coat would be fitting for us. It is amazing phenomenon which happened since Meiji Restoration. But gradually, we became to feel quite lonesome and lonely. And maybe now we became beautiful, but in very American way. If we make up in our face in Japanese way, how would we look like? That's the reason why we are now becoming nationalistic. And such a traditional way of makeup is not accustomed or not trained, because we lost old customs at all. But it might be a new invention or a new discovery of ourselves. Now we are trying it. It is only a metaphor of my explanation, but on the other hand, I seriously, I think we need the continuity of history right now. We lost the continuity after the war, particularly at the defeat of the war. And it is so horrible experience for us, because we lost the myth. We lost the deity of the emperor, and which gave us a terrible gap in the history, even in our personal history. And now we are searching for some continuity from old Japan to or New Japan. I think it's, in some aspect, it's very healthy instinct or healthy phenomenon, I think.
Right.
That's a very long answer.
Mr. Mishima, I was not going to ask a question tonight because I thought it would be mutually embarrassing. But since I heard that you were in the airplane factory and I was in the Philippines working for Domei News Agency at the time, waiting for airplanes to come, which did not come, I quite understand why they did not come. So,
Any airplane we made never flew.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is an innovation. The president's supposed to make the jokes here.
that's why I have been sitting here trying to find some difficult question to get back at you, but I'm going to give you an easy question. Nations have ages. Some are old, some are young.
Yes.
What do you think Japan is at the present time?
Well, it is a difficult question, and some General MacArthur once called Japan a 12-year-old boy, and I was very pleased to be considered like that because we are still young and we are so alive and young. But I think the one significance of old country is pretend to be young, and one significance of young country is pretend to be old. And I think Japan is, how do you think about Japanese general attitude of such a pretension? How do you think about it? You're
Mr. Mishima, I'd like to ask you two parts of a question. The first is, after the banquet, whether you had a political idea that you were trying to put across in writing this novel. And the other part is in regard to the tendency of some writers to write by connecting all their novels in a pattern or a common theme, such as Faulkner or Sholokov. I wonder if there's any thematic quality which is common to all of your novels.
And for first question, after the banquet is not exactly a political novel at all, and a political background is only a cover or jacket of the story, and I wanted to describe on the conflict between love and politics, and old woman represents the human passion of the woman, and old Christian represents the rational side of the human psychology. And a rational side means quite old-fashioned morality and a Confucianistic morality in the old-fashioned Japanese gentleman's mind. And all through my works, not only for novels but also plays, I always loved such a sort of conflict. And sometimes in the Temple of the Golden Pavilion, it is beauty and human passion, and some novel is quite exceptional. For instance, Sound of Waves has no conflict and no tension in it. The whole story happens in completely limited small world in which one morality and one idea is dominating the life of inhabitants. Maybe my treatment of such a conflict must be influenced by the technique of drama, a playwriting, I think.
I think we have time for about one more question, or one or two at the outside. I'd like to have somebody who hasn't asked a question. Ambassador Chabji.
Mr. President, you were kind enough to say that we were a literary lot here. I confess that I am completely literary because I haven't read anything of Mr. Mishima's works. I came here because I felt rather guilty about it. We have heard a great deal of Mr. Mishima's experience of the West. I should like to ask him, what is the young Japan's feeling about Asia? Does he think that Eastern civilization has a place in Japan, or is it the face-making only towards the West?
In the younger generation, I think education never gives any knowledge about Asian cultures. Since my college life, we studied classical Chinese literature, and which was very influential to our spiritual life. But right now, Asian culture is just given only one glance, one glimpse at the school. And I'm afraid after the war, as a contrast of during the war policy, the education seems to avoid such a general view about Asian countries and Asian people right now. And but the other thing is language barrier between Asian people. And when I visited Bangkok, I spoke English, and people there spoke English too. And but we still believe the national spirit should be shown only in their own language, and it is really irritating. We couldn't speak each other in our own language. If we speak English each other, I'm afraid Asian spirit could not be transferred to each other. And but on the other hand, some very industrial study is gradually developed even here. For instance, in the Ramayana, I got the first translation from the original very recently. And Indian classics is right now very gradually widely read among students. And I think the most basic approach to any foreign culture is to read the classic at first, and then approaching to the modern literature, I think. I have hope, but I think it's just started right now.